Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities. I'll give you my financial opinion. And we're going to start with the dollar, the 10 and 30-year yields, and work our way through precious metals and commodities, at least the ones that I follow. And we'll dive in here and we'll get right to it. So we've got the DXY, the relative dollar strength indicator is what I like to call it. We still have what I was talking about yesterday, is you get large down days coming like this, and then we get smaller up days on the move higher, and then it usually resolves itself lower. That's exactly what we have. Larger candlesticks down. We are coming up, and the opening and closing prices of those candlesticks are converging together, which means that the buyers are starting to equal the sellers. Now we're looking for a reversal point to the downside. It doesn't mean that it has to go lower, but statistically speaking, this is kind of a double topping type pattern where we could head lower. And it doesn't mean that I know the exact distance. I mean, we can come back down to this guy, the support level, and then work our way higher. But we'll have to see which direction it goes, how strong the sell-off is. All of those pieces of data are valuable. So that's what we're looking there on the dollar. The 10-year yield is also looking like it's trying to top out a little bit. We have a little wick at the top, not huge. So the buyers did come in. I should say the sellers, because this is yields. The sellers came in and did sell some down, and yields went up a little bit. We also have TLT firming up a little bit at the 20-year bond price, just moving sideways. And then TYX is moving on up. We're getting a little bit of a wick at the top. There are some buyers out there reversing this lower off the highs there, because this is yields. So buyers come in to push this down because it is yields. TYX to TNX basically flat. I do think that this could potentially go higher. What does that mean? It means I think the dollar could go lower in the short term, and I think that yields could potentially go lower. And I know there's some information about inflation coming out. I think it's Thursday. That could also push this all around. So that's what I'm seeing there. And this moving higher is going to be good for gold. It didn't really do much today, but we'll probably see kind of a flat day in gold. The CRB index down a little bit, not really too much to talk about here. We're still above the support line. Gold slightly lower. Again, not much to say here. We do have some good momentum heading down. The bounce here is pretty weak at this time. And I'm going to say it's favorable for the bulls because we've got bigger bull pressure there. We hit our head. We're coming on back, but we're still underneath this trend line that we need to break. So momentum is lower with a good drive at it, hit our head on the resistance line and are coming back, and we'll see if we can loop back around and try to break out if it wants to break out. Silver also heading lower. We're getting a little bit more selling pressure through here. It's finishing quite strong, still above the support level. That support level is a long-term support level around this general vicinity, 1815 or so. We've got platinum also firming up today, basically flat on that support line. That support line is on the monthly close basis here that I just tied a bunch of monthly closes together. But on the dailies, obviously, it's a little bit below the dailies. Still looking all right. We'll see what happens. XAU to gold ratio, just chopping sideways. Not much to say there. It is indecisive if it wants to go lower or higher. SILJ down 1%. We do have a support level underneath us with all this. Basically, other trading areas that we've used this before. Man, it's getting stuck. My mouse is getting stuck there, but we got support underneath us. Getting a little bit of selling pressure there in the short term. Little bit of selling pressure. Again, below the resistance and above the support line. Here's the support line here. If I were to grab it and put it all the way back, you got some support there. So support through here, all through here. Crude oil heading a little bit lower. Let's get off logarithmic there. hit our head on that resistance line, bouncing on back. It finished quite strong. We'll see where we go tomorrow. Again, we're above the breakout. Is this going to do a full return move back down into the low 80s? It's possible. If we get a pullback down to the low 80s, that is definitely a buying opportunity, in my opinion. Natural gas firming up. We're moving sideways, getting some support. That support, we've got some support through this area here, through this little area there. So there is some support. It doesn't mean we can't go lower still, but if we get some buying pressure, it's great. Again, guys, I'm not here to make predictions. I'm just showing you where the support levels are at. The support levels are basically coming through this area here that we've used multiple times. And if we come and do kind of a full retest, we could come all the way back down to here, which would be another good buying opportunity. But we are getting some buying pressure right here, right where it's at, from this support level. XOP, yeah, you know me, down today, but the momentum was up. So we gapped lower, bought up throughout the day. I think that we will end somewhere in this general vicinity down here if oil were to pull back. If oil were to pull back. OIH, energy service companies, right here on the support level that we're probably looking at, just below it. That puts us at $230 a share for OIH. But from a big long-term perspective, it's looking all right. It's looking like we're grinding out. We just need to break this guy right where we're at. That's the downtrend line we still have to break. Looking at uranium. Uranium future prices are up. They're up a little bit, looking good from a futures price perspective. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust is down today, down 3.95%, coming right back to that support level. We've used this support level quite a bit. I bet you it will hold. If I were to, well, I'm not really betting any money on, I'll put it that way, but there's right at support. Uranium, coming on here. Let me get this out of here. Delete, 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 delete. We're coming on up. We've got this little head, shoulder, head, maybe. Yeah, maybe it'll come back to this area at the 56 range, pulling on back. It doesn't look bullish. We've got a pretty good drive behind it in terms of selling pressure, small buying pressure. Usually that resolves itself to the downside, sideways or slightly lower. CCJ, Camco. Again, I think we've got a little bit too much selling pressure. I think we're going to head lower a little bit further than where we are right now. The buying pressure isn't as great. So usually that momentum will carry itself. So it might kind of do a couple of bounces like this. Something on the lines of that, create some sort of pattern like that, and then come to the corner. It's my guess. We've got TAN. TAN's right at support. There's that long-term support. It looks good from a long-term perspective in terms of the symmetry of this chart. Left-hand side, right-hand side, cut it in the middle. And usually it likes to repeat what it came down at. COPX, the copper ETF, to look at copper as a gauge of what's going on with copper. We're right at support level. We're sitting right on top of that support line. That support line's that long, big line going across here. You can even draw it a little bit further down if you'd like. It's a little support zone. There's a lot of support through here as well. So this entire area is a good support area. CRB to S&P 500 is down 1% on the day. We'll see if this thing can come in here. There it is, small little guy right now. It wants to fill in and load. It's a small little guy right next to an up candlestick. Is this a double top where we head lower, or are we going to continue higher? It looks good to continue higher with that small little bloody nose, so that looks all right. REMX is back at that support level. It's grinding sideways. We've got more sideways action there. It's right at support of this long-term support line going across. You can draw it down here as well, something on the lines, somewhere in this range, and it's right there at support. Lithium ETF, zooming in on it. Again, we've got support down at $64, slightly up today, looking like we're getting a little bit of buying pressure. The S&P 500 is heading lower. It's not a large sell-off day, so we'll see if this can be saved and move on up. It may very well not be saved, and we could head lower. I say could. It all depends on the yields. The yields look like they want to go lower, which is going to push this guy on up. Dollar is looking a little bit weak. Weaker dollar, weaker yield, and I think this will head on higher. Same with the NASDAQ. Weaker dollar, weaker yield. We're getting stronger dollar, stronger yield, which means we're going to head lower here. But if that turns, if we see a turn, this will turn higher. EEM, stronger dollar, weaker emerging markets. They're inversely correlated. Looking at XHB, XHB is also getting a little bit more buying pressure. This doesn't look too bad. We've got a nice, good buying pressure drive with a small pullback. That stair-stepping pattern that I usually see, moving to the upside. Lumber also firming up today. Hopefully we can break higher. I don't think housing is as weak as what some people think, but we'll continue to monitor it. We'll continue to watch it and see what happens. Housing was up 13% year over year. I know that's a year over year number, but it's still up. And when the housing market slows, you'll see that number compress quite a bit. Cocoa futures right on support. We've got wheat down a little bit today. It's still in an uptrend fashion for wheat. Soybeans heading a little bit lower. I still think we're heading lower in soybeans, looking at the chart pattern. Small buying pressure. I don't see too much buying pressure, more selling pressure in the candlesticks. And that just means big candlesticks, small pullbacks. Big candlesticks, small little pullbacks. That's a stair-step pattern that I see going up all the time. This guy's right at support or resistance, trying to break through resistance for corn. I still think we'll head higher. And then we've got copper. Copper's heading a little bit lower here. Bearish engulfing, a little bearish engulfing, a little bearish engulfing there. We could head a little bit lower in the short term. Not too much buying pressure showing up here. Mu also looking good, kind of filling that gap in, and then we'll probably head higher based off of the gap here and then the filling of that gap with the low selling pressure. Aluminum selling off again. We're right on top of that support level. Hopefully it holds for aluminum. And then Baltic Dry Index above, right around support, the support level. And it's looking all right. We got a mixed bag in the shipping, dry bulk shippers. So that's what I've got for today, guys. Overall, kind of looking at this, I'd say we're looking a little bit on the weaker side. We could head lower in the short term. That includes uranium, oil, natural gas, precious metals, kind of overall everything. Highly depends on what the dollar does and what yields do. I still think inflation is out in front of us. We've got the market supply-demand imbalances in energy. Energy imbalances with higher energy prices equals higher costs, higher inflation, higher interest rates. So we have opposing forces. Energy higher, everything else lower. Outside of maybe precious metals, if people get scared and they run to precious metals. That's kind of what my viewpoint is on the overall markets. If you guys agree with that type of thought or paradigm, and you guys want to figure out ways to play it, definitely sign up to the fighting-value.com website, the Platinum membership. That's the membership I would choose if you're looking for investments around energy. I look for the highly leveraged stuff with the most upside, very good risk reward, big cash flows, and growing cash flows in the future. I jump in those companies and I ride them during this bull market. If you guys like the channel, definitely give me a thumb up for the video. Subscribe to the channel if you like the channel. And we'll catch everybody next time. This is Finding Value.